Hello and welcome to another edition of the Grandstanders Live. I'm your host, Scott Kerman, and I'm joined by my usual cohorts, the Professor Russ Stevens and Uncle Joe McLaughlin. We have another great show for you tonight. So, boys, let's get it started. We're going to start with a Grandstanders Live special trading deadline show. The deadline has come and gone. Celtics only make one minor move that was yesterday. Get Springer out the door. We always start with Russell. Springer was out the door because it saved the Celtics ownership possibly $15 million, but it was a
Yeah, I think it's like
non-move as
$16
far
million.
as
dollars.
Josh.
It saved them actually in, $16 million, which is not nothing. And for a guy who wasn't playing,
Yeah,
what are you doing? That's it. That doesn't make a lot of sense. I don't have any issue. This isn't the owners being cheap. This ownership is not cheap. Like
no,
they're not
no,
cheaping out. That's the least of our problems.
yeah,
So I think in the end of the day with Springer, as much as I thought he could be a huge asset in a game, like he has been over the last couple of weeks, where small guard is lighting you up, send him into stick on Maxi or somebody, shut him down. He just can't shoot. And if you can't shoot on a Joe Mazzulla basketball team, you can't play.
yeah. Right. Great point, Russell. Yeah, Joe. Springer, it was like playing 5-on-4 in offense when Springer was out there.
Oh yeah, they just leave him alone in the corner. They weren't. He was Marcus Smart on offense.
Yeah. Um,
They would just the other team weren't even covering him.
Okay, I can't ignore the Marcus Smart deal. We knew Marcus's career was gonna go very poorly once he left the Celtics. We knew he was gonna team jump. Well, look, Memphis wanted to get rid of him. They wanted to get rid of him for quite a while. They dumped him to the Wizards, the worst team in basketball, Russ. And they basically have to give more than they're getting
They had
back.
to give up a first round pick to get him to take him.
Okay, take them. So that now Memphis has used three first round picks concerning Marcus Smart, and that what a fail.
Yeah, no, I mean, Brad's a genius. Belichick perfected the whole idea of trade a guy a year early than a year late. Brad didn't even trade him a year early. Brad traded him like at the perfect time,
Right.
and just projected that the wheels were going to fall off. And saw in that series against Miami that it wasn't good enough to take them over the top, and made a tough decision at the time. It was a tough decision, and genius.
Unpopular. Joe, if
Huh?
you put Marcus Smart right now on the Boston Celtics, he would not even sniff the rotation.
Oh no! Even his last year here, he was horrendous. He was a negative out there, but they had to play him because of who he was.
Yeah. I think he's a guy that gave his all, and he
Yeah.
knew that his career was going to be short because I mean the guy was hitting the floor every 5 seconds. And then in the last few years, even with the Celtics, he had a lot of injuries.
Oh
Yeah, I mean, he clearly was on the decline, right? I mean,
yeah.
Yeah,
and there was a lot of emotional, equity that the city had invested in him. And there was all this talk after they traded him. The Celtics traded their heart and soul, and yeah, a little bit of that probably went to Memphis with him, but games are won on the court, and games aren't won by heart and soul. And the guy wasn't good enough, especially during crunch time. And I think Brad realized that you needed to remove him for the Jays to do exactly what they've done over the last couple of years, which is
Improve.
take hold of the team. It's their team.
yeah,
Yeah, Marcus wasn't willing to let go. He thought he was the coach too. I mean, he gave Ime all sorts of problems, and he was no good for Missoula either.
yeah, they needed a new personality, and you had to send
Yeah.
Marcus out the door to get
Well,
that.
he was always the best player on the team for many years until the Jays showed up, and he still wanted to maintain that mantle.
Well, he was always the most popular player on the team, and this is
Yeah, well,
funny
okay,
about
well,
the
that's a
Celtics.
better way of putting it.
It's typical Boston. So Marcus Smart, despite the fact not being the most talented player, was the most popular, and Derek White, not the most talented player on the Celtics, but clearly the most popular player on the Celtics. But I would argue Derek White's the most popular athlete in this town right now. Would you guys agree?
Dude, you're the guy who calls our quarterback the Messiah. What are you talking about?
Yeah, you said by now he would be the biggest thing in town.
Well, no, Derek. No, look, I love him. He's not that yet.
No.
Of course, he's not that yet. No, but he's not
Derek
yet.
White is the guy who you'd call up to babysit if if your babysitter crapped out at the last minute, or you'd ask Derek and Al Horford to come over and look after your house for a few weeks. But Derek White is not the most like people love the guy, but not like he's the most beloved athlete in town.
Oh,
Well, I think he is the most popular guy in town.
I think no one dislikes him, but he doesn't create a lot of passion. Like Derek White is like is a onion bagel with some butter on it. It tastes really good, but it's like not gonna like knock your socks off.
I never want to be described as that. Oh my God, that's the worst description ever. That's first of all, that's disgusting. With butter,
Derek White is just an onion bagel.
Onion bagel
with butter, not even a schmear.
Oh my God. I can't even imagine what Russ says, how he describes us, Joe, off the air. Onion bagel with butter.
I don't think I could say that on air. No, my point is like no one dislikes Derek White. Everyone loves Derek White, but he's not the most popular athlete in this town.
Well, who would you think is more?
The freaking Messiah. Who's Jason Tatum?
Oh my God, he's coming. No, look, Messiah. Look, it would be Jason Tatum, obviously. If
Jason Tatum,
Derek White. I don't even have cable, and I see every commercial known to mankind. Derek White's in it
because he sells.
He's a nice guy. He sells stuff. People like him. Look, I'm a huge. There's no one who's a bigger Derek White fan than me. Like this guy has been amazing, really, since the finals against Golden State. But I mean, it depends on how you define popularity. Is it the least amount of people who dislike him? No one dislikes him. So, okay, he's the most popular guy, I guess.
Well, I think a lot of people, if you took a poll, more people would say he was their favorite Celtic than Jason Tatum.
I agree with you.
Jason Tatum is the king of the casual fan, yes, but not of the Celtic fans.
He is. I mean, again, but Russell, that's the way this town works. We always love our lunch pail guys. We always do. I mean, that's
the Brock Star.
I'm literally not trying to, but beloved is a function of both like talent and domination and nice guy. And I don't think anyone is above Jason Tatum in this town, Frank. I mean, if you really want to get down to it, like guy has been with us since he was 18 years old. That guy has never said anything really wrong.
I'm not here to trash.
No one says it. But that seems to be some of the reason why people are a little standoffish with JT. You got to say he plays every game. There's no other player in the NBA that plays as many minutes as him every year, in and out. But sometimes that plays against you.
Well, again,
they were just doing Charles Barkley and them were just picking their teams. It took a long time. 20 players were picked before they picked Jason Tatum.
That's ridiculous.
20, I watched it. It was like 12. But I get your point. Why do you guys hate Jason Tatum so much?
No. I knew you were
did Jaylen Brown get picked last?
Oh my God, you're so predictable. I knew you were going to say that. This had nothing to do. Jason Tatum is the until the Messiah, the team catches up to the Messiah's talent. Jason Tatum is the most talented player in Boston, and it's not
by far.
Not even close. And Jason Tatum, look, he doesn't have a big personality, but he's, like you said, Russ, has never done anything off the court to embarrass himself, his family, or the city of Boston.
He's raising a child like in front of us. That's insane. That never happened.
Is that right? Yeah.
Yeah, he walked into the arena tonight with the Deuce.
No.
Awesome.
Look, Jason Tatum, we're blessed to have this guy in town. The Celtics are the reason we love sports right now in Boston.
2 teams passed on them. That's incredible.
We would look at jersey. You'd look at jersey sales, and I'm sure. My guess is that Tatum is one. and white is probably 2-3, like somewhere with brown and white, right?
Yeah.
But Joe, I just want to get this clear, and for people, the casual fan, we could talk about the casual fan, is that the two teams didn't pass on Jason Tatum. Ainge would never have traded that pick down to 3 if he
Right.
didn't think he was going to get Jason Tatum.
Oh yeah, he
Oh,
knew he was because he knew the two teams were locked into
Well, obviously, he had a conversation with the
ball
Sixers
and
that they were going to take Fultz, and he knew that the Lakers were going to take Ball,
yeah.
and that was it.
there was just a long article about that, and it essentially has been triple confirmed. Basically, they did all the homework, and Ainge
And even LA had assured him they were taking Ball, and Philly promised as part of the deal that they would not take Tatum.
and
That was part of the deal. That was in the deal.
Tatum couldn't even get a workout with the Lakers. Now all these Lakers, all the Lakers front office people are saying that that's not true, but Tatum's agent, everyone around said, yeah, he couldn't even get a private workout with the Lakers, even though Kobe was his idol.
Wait, isn't Ainge involved in everything right now?
Oh my
He's
God.
like the facilitator for all of these deals. He was the facilitator for the Luka deal. He was the facilitator for the Cleveland deal. He's the facility. He's in all of them, picking up a couple of second-round picks for making the phone calls.
Look, we got to talk about the Luka deal. And how shocked were you guys when you heard it?
I woke up at 4:15 to use the bathroom and made the mistake of, I think I was going to listen to a podcast, try to get back to sleep, and I turned my phone on, and I have a text group with a bunch of people. I'm in a fantasy basketball league with a bunch of people from, like, 6 people from LA are in this group.
Yeah.
220 text messages, and I'm like,
Oh my gosh.
what the hell? And I go and I hit it, and it goes up to the tweet that someone posted, and I was like, that doesn't make any sense. It's fake. It has to be fake.
Yeah.
And then I'm scrolling and I'm like, oh no, not fake.
It's the stupidest, Joe, I would say it's the stupidest deal I've ever heard. And I would say that because he literally did not negotiate with any other team.
He could have gotten a lot more. I'll give you that. But in the short term, this might work for the Mavs for 1 year. If Edwards stays healthy in the playoffs, that could be a good combination, especially picking up Caleb Martin too. But beyond that, as far as the future's concerned, it's ridiculous. The most ridiculous deal I've ever seen.
No, Luka carried the Mavericks to the.
And he's 25.
He's carried him. I'm old enough to remember they playing in June, and he was by far the star of that team.
Yeah, it was insane. And you can sit there and say, okay, even if you were to agree with the concept of it, which is we don't want to give a guy who hasn't gotten himself in shape, constantly injured, kind of an ass ache, $350 million. It's just we just don't want to do that. Okay, fine. Even if you say, which I don't think is right, but even if you accept that, the process was asinine, right?
It was negligent. He was sheer negligence.
Yeah,
just look what Rudy Gobert went for a few years ago, like 6 number ones, and top-notch players and rotation players,
I mean, Pelinka totally took this guy's lunch, breakfast, lunch, dinner.
Well, they used to work together at Nike, and that's where it comes from.
But then again, the ownership had to have signed off on this deal. So I think, Russ, your point is well taken. They didn't want to pay him because he's a dick. He's a dick. They didn't like him.
Yeah.
But he was the most popular player in Dallas.
Not in those 4 walls. He wasn't.
There are some great conspiracy theories out there. Some great ones, right? So the Adelsons, who are a casino family, there's a big bill going through the state of Texas, and it's looking bad for gambling. And presumably they bought the team because they were gonna, they're gonna build a casino and a big, it's all real estate now.
Yeah.
And now that it looks like it may have trouble, is this some sort of leverage? And are they looking to do some sort of deal where, they get the franchise, they get the expansion team in Vegas, take Dallas with them, and then the NBA expands into Dallas? I mean, could happen. That could be the case. Like, here's the thing that makes no sense. Had they signed Luka to a $350 million contract next year, the franchise value would have gone up.
Yep.
And instead,
A
they traded
billion.
him. Franchise value has gone down. So if
Absolutely.
you're is there any explanation beyond like real estate, casinos, something bigger in the future for driving the franchise value down?
I can't understand the move, but how do you not? If you're going to trade Luca, you share that with the NBA world and let them bid this freaking thing out.
Auction.
Yeah.
At auction, absolutely.
And I mean,
Oh, Golden State would have jumped through hoops to get him. But now the Lakers have their superstar to build around for the next 10 years, too, which I don't like.
look, OKC would have given you everybody on the team other than SGA and every draft pick they had for the next 10 years. I mean, this guy, the whole league is based on stars, and he's one of the biggest ones. And he just brought a team to a final.
Oh, and OKC would love to stick it to Dallas like that. Oh, the OKC fans would love to stick it to Texas fans.
In fact, he was getting more, and Pelinka talked him out of it. So the deal was he was actually going to get that kid Dallas Knock or something and some picks, and he talked him out of it and said, "Nah, that's what we're giving you is enough."
It was this classic sort of all boy, old boys network where they knew each other.
Yeah.
And they, look, I'm sure they valued secrecy on both sides. There's no doubt about that. But to value secrecy over your fiduciary responsibility to your franchise doesn't make any sense.
Yeah.
And
Okay.
he left LA with enough resources that they could go out and get the center there.
Yeah, Mark Williams. Yeah.
Okay, I don't know if I've ever read the inner workings of, or if there's been a detailed report on the inner workings of the Mookie Betts deal. Did Heimblum shop Mookie Betts to all MLB teams?
I don't know. It's a great question.
Yeah, I never heard of anyone else being interested except LA, to tell you the truth.
Which makes no sense, right?
No.
How would you compare the Luka deal to the Mookie Betts deal? Is Luka worse deal?
I think Luka's worse because of the math, Scotty. Like I thought a lot about this. Luka's one of 12 and really one of 5 for relatively 30, most of 3/4, 80% of a basketball game. So the impact of one player on a team is just much greater in the NBA. Whereas, Mookie's one of 25. So it's close, but I think Luka's worse.
Yeah. It was funny. Someone described it in baseball terms. It would be Trout for Bobby Witt Jr.
Yeah, right. Yeah, right.
Yeah, kind of. That's a fair point. Yeah.
And Luke has been far more successful in his career than Bobby Witt Jr. has.
Oh yeah,
yeah. Well, the other thing is, I don't think the identity of the franchise, as much as we loved Mookie, we wasn't the identity of the franchise. I mean, we had won 4 World Series in 15 years, and we didn't. For the Dallas fans, he was their identity. Like the whole brand was Luka.
It was Dirk for 20 years, and then Luka was the heir apparent. He was the one who took over for the next 20 years.
Yeah, you could. That's a great point, Russell, because I didn't think about it. I mean, Mookie Betts was not, when we traded him, he wasn't the best player in baseball. Nobody considered him the best.
No,
he was the most popular player on the Red Sox, though.
Oh, by far.
He was, but he wasn't the best player in baseball.
No.
No.
He had he kind of alternated from having really great seasons to nice seasons.
Yeah.
Nothing extraordinary. Luka has been extraordinary since he got into the league.
Yeah. Yeah.
You could argue that Luka would have been the face of the NBA had they won that championship.
So I've been, my high school friends and I were debating this. I think we did a little bit. So a bunch of things came out recently about like the ranking the trade value, basically ranking the NBA players in terms of value. And Tatum was being consistently ranked around the fifth or sixth, somewhere around there. And Luca was being consistently ranked as like second or third. And I didn't argue with that a week or so ago. Like I was like, oh, okay, that makes sense. Luca's like a more dominant player. A week or so ago, if someone said you could trade Tatum for Luca, I'd have been, I don't know, I probably would have said yes or been pretty. And then once he got traded and all this stuff came up, and we were discussing whether you trade Tatum for Luca, I think we all said no, we wouldn't.
Yeah.
Yeah, no, we wouldn't. Well, I think the off the court stuff is real. I mean,
Hell,
I think
damn
this
right.
guy is we saw them. The guy was out of shape in the finals. You know,
He was like that his whole career, though, and was still able to put up 50-point triple
True.
doubles on a regular basis, practically.
True. However, he didn't play defense.
no,
Yeah.
Right? And we saw what happens in NBA finals when he don't play defense. So A, the Celtics stopped him with one guy. They didn't double him.
no.
And two, and B, they went at him all the time on defense. And the Celtics won a title 5-1,
Yeah.
4-1.
And he's that's why I could never understand the Mavs getting Grant Williams. He already had one guy that spent his whole time on going up the court arguing with the refs. Now they got a second one.
Thing about Luka is though, he'll take the final shot and he'll make it.
He was clutch. He killed
He's
the
a more
Celtics.
look, he's a more skilled player than Tatum, but I don't think I'd trade Tatum for him.
No, absolutely not. And I think
Yeah.
that I mean, but the irony is, it would have been interesting had Brad been offered that.
Would have been very interesting. I don't think Brad would have done
I'm
it.
surprised that Luka was ever offered at all. It just that boggles my mind.
Boggles my mind. It's
Look,
crazy.
he's pissed them off to no end. Like we
Yeah.
always talk about when like teams trade prospects, they know what these guys are about. So they knew about. They really don't like Luka as a person. I'm pretty convinced about that.
Yeah.
It sounded like he was just fucking annoying them so much that they just
Yeah.
wanted to get rid of him. And maybe they kind of stuck it to him too, because had it gone to the whole league, the agent would have gotten involved. Luka would have picked his team. Maybe they didn't think he'd be a good match in Los Angeles too, so they stuck it to him there. It was short-sighted. And I think clearly it's the worst deal in the history of modern professional
Yeah.
sports.
Yeah.
I mean, the results
Short-sighted is a good way to describe it, because it might work this year, but it's not working in the future.
No, but Joe, it never works because you would have got more. It never ever works.
But, yeah,
It
that's
never
it.
works
If
because you would have
they
got a whole
waited
lot
one
more.
more day and just said he's on the market,
And the Mavericks aren't
You
winning.
think Luka would have sabotaged any trade?
No, I think
Maybe is that why they kept it secret?
no. I mean, obviously,
Would he have Jimmy Butler, and everyone say, well, I don't think I want that guy now.
but there's a point, because if he gets traded, which he did, he was going to be able to make. He was making a lot less in his next contract, like $100 million plus.
Yeah.
So yeah, he would have given them trouble in that instance, because he'd be losing, leaving $100 million on the table. He didn't want to do that. They stuck it to him, and that's another reason why they traded him, because they knew he was going to lose the money.
Yeah.
Yeah. Now the story of that divorce, that is going to be fascinating. Like when that story really comes out, it may come out at the end of the year, maybe 5 years. It is going to be, that's a must read.
That press conference with that GM and Jason Kidd was as painful as a press conference.
Yeah.
Jason Kidd refused to speak. He just
Oh,
had
he was not left out of the loop too. He wasn't given any idea what was happening behind the scenes.
and Danny Ainge never knew. He never knew what was happening in that deal, even though he was a part of it. It was crazy, 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 crazy. Look, lots of deals in the NBA. Except for this, for the Luka deal. Any deals that move the dial hurt the Celtics?
Jimmy Butler
No, I
to
mean,
Golden State doesn't hurt us in the
there's
least.
a huge shift of star players from east to west, and the only one that really, factors in probably for the Celtics is Cleveland getting DeAndre Hunter and sending a couple of guys out. I mean, DeAndre Hunter is a better wing than they had, and
Oh, he gives Tatum fits.
more capable of guarding, the Celtics wings. But Celtics have faced all manner of those guys. That guy,
Yeah.
it's not a needle mover, I don't think.
But the Methuen minivan was in that
I
trade.
know he was. I know, right? And he was getting all friendly with Jason Tatum during the game, a few days ago. He probably,
Well, he wants to come home.
a
Play
kid
for
from
the-
Well,
Bethune probably
he
was
could get
asking him
bought
for his
out.
autograph.
He could get bought out. Yeah.
Yeah,
But we can't, and we could get him because even if guys bought out, like if they bought out Marcus Smart, we couldn't pick him up.
I think
Because
Yang makes some good money now. I think he's over 4
the
million.
CBA anyone who's making more than 12.8 million, it doesn't matter if they get bought out, we can't get them.
Oh, was he above the 12.8, Joe?
Marcus
Niang?
is. I don't
No,
know
Niang.
about Yang.
No,
I'm
Yang
not
is-
Yeah,
sure.
I don't think he is.
No.
Yeah, you can't get Marcus. He's above 12.8. I think you could probably get Niang. They'll get somebody. They'll get somebody off the buyout, but
Well,
it
they
won't
could
make it.
make Scotty happy with Lonnie Walker and bring him back.
Yeah,
They could bring Lonnie Walker back.
O'Shea
just don't-
Brissett.
Yeah.
How about
I
Brissett?
just
He's not signed.
Yeah, I
won't-
know.
He
won't make
knows
a
the
difference,
place.
though.
No.
It's not going to make a difference.
None of this is going to make a
Right.
difference.
Oh no one you buy out is going to make a difference. I don't think.
The only irony was, and maybe is like a Springer in one, potential defensive stop at the end of a game. You might put Springer in to defend, in a certain situation. But otherwise, a guy, 13th, 12th, 13th, 14th guy, you're not going to use him at all. And Kate is not. They're shortening the
No.
bench if you've noticed recently.
Yeah.
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 Not screwing
Yeah.
around.
No, they'll pick somebody up. They should, and it's insurance policy, and maybe it wins you a regular season game or two. But you get to the playoffs. We saw they play 8 guys. Cornette is your 9th guy, and he's a valuable player. He'll play 10 minutes a game in the playoffs. No one's going to play after Cornette unless there's a foul trouble or an injury.
Or you're playing someone like Embiid or Giannis, and you can get Kate to come in and foul him.
Sure, spot minutes.
Beat him up a little.
I'm going to make a prediction. He's coming back. The referees hate him still. Daniel Tice, he got traded and bought out all in a minute.
Yeah, the Pelicans.
About it is like they get so many bigs. They've got 4 bigs who play, and plus Tillman, right? So 5 bigs. There's no room for Tice on this team.
The big room is all around the internet today. Was how they could have gotten under the second apron by getting rid of Tillman and Sherman. They would have been under.
Why would they get rid of Sherman? Why would they get rid of him for?
Well, maybe they don't think he's going, but he's the only one with enough salary because he was a first-round pick. He gets like $1 million.
I didn't know that, Joe. I didn't know they could get under the second apron. I think these guys are.
If they could get $1 million under the second, almost $1 million under the second apron.
For them,
because Tillman, you'd have to package him with a second-round pick to get someone to take them.
Remember, Joe, the Celtics can't aggregate. They cannot package anything. They have to make individual trades. They cannot put 2 salaries together. They would have to trade everyone out individually.
Yeah, but they would, just salary dumps.
By the way, I'm glad they didn't do that. That would suck to trade a first-round pick from last year because you want to get under an. I don't want that.
No, he shows potential. Yeah, absolutely. Tillman's been a complete fail though this year.
Yeah,
he can't see the floor.
He's unwilling to shoot. I actually think even if he was shooting and missing, Maz would play him, but he won't shoot.
Yeah.
Right. So You can't
He
play
looks
for
like
me.
Paul Silas out there in the corner. He hesitate, then shoot.
He's a bad fit for the team. It just does. There's no position for him really.
Yeah. Yeah. I thought I had such high hopes for him, but he doesn't have it. Yeah.
Looked like Al Horford for a second, but that
Yeah.
was a brief second. All right, we're going to go to the Red Sox, guys. You got to talk Russell Stevens off the ledge almost daily about the Red Sox. Um, we got to keep him. You got to keep him in the family here, the Red Sox family. Russell, I feel your pain, but let's give them. Let's wait to see what Bregman does. If Bregman signs with another team, then you're free to say whatever you want.
Sure. Yeah, I won't be my petition to change their name to the Boston Bottom Feeders won't go through if they sign Bregman. If they sign Bregman, I actually think it has a chance. I've got 2,000 signatures, and I'm going to deliver them to the Red Sox headquarters and basically say, you're better off telegraphing what you really are with your brand, and your brand, right, you're what you actually are bottom feeders. So why don't
Absolutely.
we just make this easy on everybody? And you can
I
come up with a
and
really cool logo, like a bottom feeding fish, like
Oh my
a
God, yeah.
catfish.
remember the Boston
Yeah.
Lobsters has been taken though. There's the bottom
Right.
feeder.
I'm sure.
They're
Well,
bottom
Russell has
feeders.
big
And they're
bucks.
red.
I'm sure he could buy the
Yeah.
logo and then fit him right
Yeah, I
there.
think that's what we're gonna do, I think. If
All right, so that's their new nickname. We've had many nicknames. They're the Boston
Boston
Bottom
Bottom Feeders.
Feeders. Yeah,
Yeah.
BBF.
Yeah, and their payroll has gone. All the conversation that we had from the end of the regular season was, can't wait to see who they spend on. Going to be interesting. Bring some new guys in to mix with the kids, and expected I didn't think there was any scenario in which their payroll will go down, and yet their payroll has gone down.
Yeah, and they're not going to sign Bregman. There's no way.
But it would be such a mistake to bring up Christian Campbell as that right-handed bat. He's come to, who he was drafted, what he was drafted with, the compensation for Xander. That's how quickly he's gone through the system.
Oh, I know. You can't have expectations to put him in second base. And
He was in single A last year, went to high A, and then he went to double A, and then went to triple A. You can't throw him in the majors all overnight.
You can't play Vaughn Grissom. We've seen enough of Vaughn Grissom. Vaughn Grissom's not a Major League Baseball player.
No, I don't think so. I mean, he'd have to make a leap that not that many guys make, right?
He's not. But this is the Boston Red Sox. You have an opportunity to get a legitimate second baseman and an all-star, and all it costs is money. Get him.
So it's so easy for them now to say, it's so easy for them to decide not to spend money, right? So last year was very cut and dry. We're not ready to win, and we'll spend money when our young guys have reached a sufficient level where they'll help us actually win. And then this summer, we thought we were there, but it's so easy to kick the can down the road. Well, Roman Anthony doesn't really have a spot to start the year, and Campbell's not ready to be promoted, and Mayer doesn't have enough. We traded Teal, and it's so easy for them to kick the can down the road for another season and just say, oh, well, we'll sign guys when we're ready to win. And it's ridiculous.
Or they could trade for Arenado.
Yeah,
But that rumor is cooled way off.
absolutely. They had plenty of opportunities, and if there was no more Red Sox looking player than Pete Alonso, Joe. Like, that guy had Red Sox written all over him, like circa 1970s, 1980s, 1990s, all the way up to now, right? We've always had a Pete Alonso.
Just have to make a trade,
right? And they could have signed Pete Alonso for 2 years and, I don't know, $30-40 million. And they didn't even sign Pete Alonso.
Is it? I would say that just they're the most arrogant organization in this town right now.
They're arrogant because they have because they fill the park. They don't need to be good in order to succeed, sadly.
No, they know. They know they're all set.
Yep.
And
They're probably the most profitable team in the MLB.
Got to
but
be right up there.
Sam Kennedy should stop being. Would you agree Sam Kennedy should stop being the mouthpiece of the Boston Red Sox?
He should get out of these negotiations. He always wants to cheap out.
He should, but man, Breslow's a smart guy, but that guy does not speak like he's in touch with what's really going on around here, right? Like he thinks it's some sort of an analytics class that he's teaching. I'm like, I don't need to hear that. I don't need to hear your beautiful mind coming out of your mouth. What I need to hear is we signed
Very, very,
$40
very.
million a year for 8 years
It's so
or
true.
50 million. You know what I'm saying? Like I don't care about your stupid analytics. And I'm as analytic as it comes. I don't want my freaking GM talking about this stuff.
Oh my God, I'd rather have Heimblum talk than Craig Breslow. It's
Let's not go that far.
look, look, Heim built up an incredible farm system. What has Craig Breslow done?
Nothing
Nothing.
yet. Made a bunch of bad decisions about free agents for so far.
So maybe there's dissension among the ranks. So apparently they planted a story, and we know Sam Kennedy plants every story. Everything's coming from Sam Kennedy. He plants the story that he and Cora want to sign Bregman and that Warner and Henry don't. Did you see that?
Yes, I saw that.
Oh, that, yeah.
That's Sam planting that.
Like John Henry and Warner, they don't care. If Sam says to them, I think we should sign them, they say, okay, do what you think is best. They don't stick their noses to that. They can't be bothered.
I don't know. Do you agree with Joe Russell?
I don't know how that place works. And we blamed Lucchino, rightly so, for the John Lester thing. But when Lucchino was in there, and Theo was there, you knew exactly who the hell was making decisions and why,
Yeah.
right? Even if they weren't popular, like you knew, okay, all right, I know who's making decisions. I know why they're making them. They're telling us why they're making them. This is just corporate BS that they have going on in there right now.
Yeah, Joe, is Theo Epstein? I thought he was part of the organization. I mean, is that a joke?
Well, he is, but he's not in his former position.
But what does he do?
Remember, in those days, I'm sure GMs all over the world want to make the team better. It's presidents that want to make more money. And Sam Kennedy is running that team right now. But he wants to make more money.
So there's no Theo Epstein fingerprint on
No.
Well, no, isn't he running? Isn't he involved with the whole Fenway Sports Group so that he's also overseeing the Penguins and Liverpool and whatever else is involved?
I love Theo. I love Theo, but nobody from Brookline should ever be asked any hockey question or any hockey knowledge. Come on.
Guys, Theo is a consultant. And he's not accountable for anything. He does not get a performance evaluation at the end of the year. And to Joe's point, he's involved at the Fenway Sports Group level as a consultant. He's not involved in any, he's giving his advice on major moves. That's it. That he's not really on the line for anything.
Right.
Or he's giving them possible paths for the future. He's not working in the here and now.
Okay, look, spring trainings, the pitchers and catchers are coming soon. I mean, I was there for Truck Day. I saw it. They have packed up and left. Bregman's probably going to sign before the end of the weekend. We know the history of these players who don't participate fully in spring training. It hurts them dramatically. We saw that last year with Montgomery and Snell. They just can't get their shit together. Or we saw that with Swayman. These guys get injured, whatever. Bregman's going to sign by Sunday. What team is he going to sign with? We start with Joseph.
Oh, I guess it'll end up being the Red Sox. I don't see Detroit signing him. They just made another signing. So I think that takes them out of it. I don't think Toronto wants him.
But they already spent big on Santander, and they just
Santander, yeah.
signed Schwarz, Max Schwarzer.
Scherzer, yeah.
Um, Russell, what do
I
you
think he's going to go back to in the end, he's going to go back to the Astros. And he'll sign one short-term contract with the Astros. And because he knows he's comfortable there, he knows what he's getting into and everything.
Boy,
And
they screw up. Did Boris screw up there? Should have taken
did.
that 156.
Oh my God. Russell, you're exactly
He
right.
did the same thing he did to Boris did to Veritek. Remember, the Red Sox offered him $30 million for 3 years, and he turned it down. They ended up getting him for $3 million for 1 year.
See, but a lot of teams, a lot of agents are looking at the whole Matt Chapman thing. He screwed up last year. He had a huge deal that he rejected from the Blue Jays. Did a year contract, and then he got a big deal with the Giants or something. So that's probably how they're thinking right now with Bregman. That's probably how they're thinking with Alonso, who has an opt-out after this year. But Russell, you're absolutely right. He's going back to the Astros. There's absolutely no question about that.
If you
How
know
about Correa?
if you know you've got a year or two to perform and get your last contract, you're going to go where you're most comfortable, right? Where you know you can put up numbers. And that's going to be Houston for him.
Well, wouldn't that be Fenway Park for him? Houston's not a hitter-friendly park.
Oh, I know,
That's
but Joey's done it year after year after year, and Houston knows he can succeed there. If I'm going to roll,
he is the greatest single play hitter in the history of Fenway Park, going all the way back to the beginning. 110 years of Fenway Park. No one's had a higher OPS in Fenway Park than him.
I hope you're right. I just
There's a difference, Joe. In Astros, they bang a drum and tell them what the pitch is. So
they had a very nice lineup. He was protected in front and back that I don't think you'll get with the Red Sox.
Yeah, and again, the Red Sox fans are unhappy, and it doesn't appear that ownership cares, and that's what bothers me the most.
They don't care.
They
I
don't
agree.
care at all.
I agree.
And I don't want to bail on season tickets. I love having season tickets, but I'm pretty sure that Russell's very convincing that if this year does not go well, that he will convince me also to.
Yeah, I mean, look, we're enabling them right now, and I don't regret any of these decisions, but at some point in time, you're the fool, right? Like,
well,
you're part
what
of
do
the
you
problem.
think? They won 81 games last year.
Yeah.
The improvements in the pitching staff, will that make it a better team?
No, because their offense is porous. This is going to be they're going to have.
Yeah, I mean, look, I think we can sit here and say, well, it's just about a right-handed hitter, but we went in saying they need to be +2 on starters, and they got +1. And Giolito, yeah, he might be back, but they didn't go out and get a secondary, like, really good starter. And everyone's trying to feed me this crap. Who's the lefty who's coming off of Tommy John?
Sandoval? Oh my God!
They've got the Red Sox media cartel, including Sandoval, in their offseason acquisition thing. And I'm like, that guy had a 4.7 ERA before he got hurt.
I know. Never understood that move.
Starter. So they didn't get a secondary, he didn't get a number 3 starter and number 4 starter to go along with Crochet. They didn't get a right-handed hitter. But they also didn't there were plenty of closers on the market. They could have paid for Tanner Scott.
Yeah.
Who's their closer?
Who is their closer?
Who's their closer?
I think they're going to end up.
And guys had career years, like Wong and Duran had career years. They might not be able to repeat that.
I think Jansen's coming back because he hasn't signed with anybody.
Maybe.
Maybe. Nobody seems to be interested.
They're so exposed to, if God forbid, Garrett Crochet hurts himself.
Oh,
you know what I'm saying? Like, they're
back to Brian Bayo and Tanner Houck and Garrett Whitmore.
They were last year because at least they had Pivetta to go throw 210 innings. They don't even have that.
You
Who
think
is
that
the?
they'll bring him back? He's still out there desperate.
Oh, I don't want.
Oh, I don't think they can.
He was fine as a relief pitcher. He's just so schizo as a starter.
That was what a stupid move. He would have signed that $21 million for 1 year contract.
21.9.
A guy who was
He
a
won't
fifth
get that for 5 years right now.
guy who's a fifth starter and a kind of middle reliever type, and he was going to get life-changing money for 1 year and then reestablish himself again and then go into the market. Why would you do that?
Bad advice
Bad
from his
advice.
agent again.
Yeah, it's bad. It's to Joe's point, it's just bad advice, hubris.
And nobody's
Like,
going to sign him now because they have to give up a pick, right?
yeah, yeah, that's
Was it
exactly
second
right.
round pick, right?
I think it's a second.
Yeah, second round pick. They're not doing that. No one's signing
No.
better. Uh-huh. And I can only imagine if he had like a 3 year $45 million deal that I think that he had on the table and he refused to sign that too with some team. What is he doing? Does he remember he's Nick Pivetta?
Yeah, I don't know. But it's just Joe's point, just bad advice, like bad decision
Yeah.
making, bad advice.
Well,
Yeah.
kids out there, if somebody offers you $45 million to sign your name on a piece of paper, go ahead and do that.
Sign your name. Yeah,
and,
sign your
and
name.
then figure it out later about your
Don't
value.
overcomplicate it.
All right, so we got to go to the talk about the Messiah because it's really Messiah 24/7. That's the most remarkable thing. It's the Super Bowl, and the most important story across the world is Drake May playing ping pong, Drake May at the Pro Bowl, Drake May what he had for lunch. I mean, it's all setting up for this is the last time that Drake May doesn't
What do
participate
they have? A
in
Drake
the
May
Super Bowl.
feed down there at Mason Terrace?
What's that?
They have a Drake May feed
Yeah,
directly to Mason
yeah,
Terrace.
that's.
I haven't. Yeah, I just saw the first Drake May thing I've seen in months.
No, Russell, you've been seeing that. You know he's all over.
Yeah, I saw there's a whole segment on I don't put these things on, but I was in the kitchen tonight and I put it on and there's a whole like 3 minute segment on Boston Sports Tonight on him playing ping pong. I'm like,
Yeah,
is
as
that
well there
really
should
where
be.
we are?
Yeah,
Yeah.
that's where oh my, we are where we should be. That's in fact not only where we are, where we should be. We're in our comfort zone. Look, I would argue that Daniels May, we could see 3 Super Bowls in the next 6 to 7 years with the Commanders and the Patriots. I think those two are going to they're like Manning and Brady. Those two will connect.
Scotty,
Really.
I'd love to see that
I'd put
happen.
some money against that.
I just need to know, do we actually have an offensive line or are we gonna like try to scramble one together again?
Yeah.
Look, what we have is money, and we're going to spend it. There's no reason not to. Because Joe, you said this a few times over the last few weeks. Mike Vrabel was promised by Kraft to spend money. Mike Vrabel has control of the purse strings. Would you agree?
Well, to an extent. Remember, Gerard Mayo thought they were going to burn some cash.
Yeah, but this is a little different.
But yeah, with that Robin Glazer gone, you don't have.
Oh my God, we have to stop talking about Robin Glazer. She's gone.
She's gone.
He
She was the
I
one
would,
that
I never,
would
I never,
hold
I
up
don't
on
know
those
who she is.
contracts.
It doesn't matter. She's gone. My biggest issue is do we have anyone who can evaluate wide receivers on this team?
No.
No, we haven't had that ever.
So you go out and you get other people's good evaluations. They have the money. You go out and you get T. Higgins. You get Cooper Kupp. You make a deal for A.J. Brown if Vrabel wants a reunion. You make these. You go out and you make a deal.
But what you do is you overpay. You
Yes.
have to overpay
Well,
these guys
they can
because
afford it. You can't build a team through the draft. No one has done it.
well, you can't build a wide receiver core through the draft.
You can't build a team. You can't build a 53-man football team through
No.
the draft. It doesn't work. The only ones that came close were the Colts back in the day, but they had Peyton Manning and Tony Dungy coaching it.
Look, offensive linemen and wide receivers, I think, are the most difficult positions to evaluate from college to the pros. That's where you spend your money with established guys in the free agency is the offensive line and wide receivers. You tend to know what you're going to get. Would you agree with that?
Yeah, yeah. I mean, you have to this any real conversation about who the Patriots should draft is a little bit moot right now because you don't know who they're going to sign to Joe's point in free agency,
Yeah.
right? So if they manage to go and get two, three offensive linemen in free agency, then you can wait until the third or fourth round to pick an
Yeah.
offensive tackle or something
Yeah,
like
you
that.
get developmental guys at that point, a
Right.
guy you think you can build to be your tackle of the future.
You just gotta you need to pick good players. You gotta draft and pay guys who don't suck. And we just haven't shown that we can do that. Hopefully this new administration can figure it out. But the one that, the people who've been picking these teams over the last, 10 years
Elliot Wolf has been picking the draft for 5 years straight now.
working.
Well, I
There's
mean,
no way.
the whole draft as far as free agency last year was a joke. They were bottom feeding these guys who literally did not want to play in the NFL anymore. I mean, it was embarrassing, and they can't take
Well,
that.
they were tanking. They got what they wanted. They're picking number 4. They wanted number 1, but they got number 4. Still not bad. In this draft, there's not a lot of big talent at the top of the draft in the skill positions.
Yeah, I mean, I think they're going to end up having an opportunity to draft Travis Hunter, and he was considered for quite a while the number one guy in the draft. It's going to be how much they like him. I think it's the most important thing is going to be is he the Otani of football? Will they be drafting him with the idea that he's not only playing cornerback but playing wide receiver?
Not full time.
No.
He can't full time both.
Yeah, not in the pros. He'd be beat up so
Yeah.
bad.
But where's his value then? Because he's not. Is he the top cornerback in the draft?
No, he's neither the top cornerback in the draft nor the best wide receiver in the draft. As a combo, he's the best there is. But I would save him for further. Hey, if you want to trade down and you trade him, pick him up at 9 or 10. Yeah, fine.
I don't know if he's going to
You're
slide.
not-
He'd
there's
be a
no
great
way.
cornerback to go with Gonzalez.
He's not lasting till 9 and 10. Somebody will go take him, and if he had a good quarterback, yeah, they don't need Travis Hunter.
Yeah,
Yeah.
I think he's a novelty act. I'm
Yeah.
not completely sold on that. I'm not completely sold on that University of Colorado program. So I think if you draft that Sanders kid really high up, good luck with that.
Yeah,
You also get Dion being a pain in the neck too. He's like
yeah,
LaMelo Ball's father.
yeah. Just, you know what I want the Patriots to do? Pick the best player available. Like
Exactly.
and when you get to number 4, take a look at who's left and take the absolute best player. You can't be picky at this point in time.
They need someone at every position except quarterback,
They do.
and they could use a backup quarterback too, for that matter.
Remember, the fans growing up, they used to always rag on the Patriots because they always said they were going to take the best player available. And of course, the fans like, no, we have these particular needs. And the Patriots would be like, oh, no, best player available. So it's very funny
Yeah.
when you say that. That used to be a real negative connotation in this town.
Honestly, every other year I've ever thought about it, I've said, draft for need, draft for need. They're just not good enough. To Joe's
Yeah.
point, they need people at every single position at this point in time. So, like, don't sacrifice any sort of quality to pick a guy for need because you can't afford a miss.
Yeah.
And don't
And I
depend
do
on-
like when they build a team from the inside out. The two lines, yeah, I mean the offensive line and the quarterback, defensive line. If you control the line of scrimmage, you go a long way towards winning.
I hope
You
I'm
coach a
wrong here.
lot of leeway for playing, all sorts of games.
I hope I'm wrong here, but I don't think Barmore's ever going to play again. I
agree.
Yeah, that he had if he has a relapse on a blood clot condition, that means that he's you can't if you have 2 of those, they're not going to let you take blows to the head ever again. I mean, you can live a nice long life and whatever and stuff, but you can't play professional football. And then they took him off the field after doing that. I think that this is just a matter of time before he retires. And that's going to be a great loss because they can't afford, he's one of the best players on this team.
No, that's why he was taken so high. He was a talented athlete, and it's solidified up front. Back then, remember, Guy was young and could still play, and
That's tough. I just want to mention
now that tackle position's woeful, worse than the NFL, I think.
before we go to the Bruins, Mayo, his brother, has been
Still with the
retained.
team.
I just think that's crazy.
Strength and
right?
conditioning coach.
And Dante's back in the consultant role.
No, he's not. No, he says that's a lie.
Oh, he did?
Yeah, I heard him on the radio today. They asked him about what he's going to be doing. He said, it's all a lie. I'm not there. I'm not doing anything there.
Oh, man. We got Timmy so excited. All right, we got to go.
He might come back. You never know. When Belichick was there, he still came in as a consultant and everything. He might come back for Vrabel. You never know.
He evaluated the draft, I thought.
No, he said no. That's all. The AI has hallucinations sometimes. The aggregation of information. They come out with these crazy. It comes out with this crazy stuff. I guess Bill O'Brien's the one who started the rumor.
Yeah, Bill talks a lot. All right, we're going to go to the Bruins. How many times every week do I have to say they're sellers, fellas? They're sellers. They're not buyers.
They should be.
They may as well be. They may as well be now. I've given up.
Is over. This is the last vestiges of that era, and it's over. Just pick 4 guys who you want to build around and trade everybody, or at least put everyone else on the market and see what you can get.
Yeah.
Because I think that's right, Russell. Because I think that they still have some value. If you next year at this time, if you're going to be a seller, I don't think you get anything close to the value of the players you might move right now. I think this is the time to do it. There's no great teams in the NHL that this is going to be open tournament, and so a lot of teams are going to think they can win, and they need these missing pieces. Now, give me 4 players who stay, who you untradeable.
Well, Pasternak and Swayman are untradeable just by virtue of their contracts.
Yeah, but I would trade Swayman. I wouldn't trade Lowry. Right? I think young, big, mobile defenseman.
Cheap too.
Cheap. I mean, I don't know. Like you've seen Pasternak be amazing with good players around him. I hate trading a guy who's a sniper. Right? That doesn't make a lot of sense.
He'd be the face. Would you trade Marchand if somebody offered?
Yeah. I would do a Ray Bork with Marchand in a minute. Like he's not the same player.
He's washed up.
Yeah, and just like if you can get something for a team that wants to win a cup and thinks they're a Brad Marchand away, just do it. And don't apologize for it. He's a legend here. He's going into the Hall of Fame here. It's fine. Don't apologize for it. Just do it.
Yeah. He could be a good third line spark plug for a good team.
Yeah. Yeah. Well, I think they've come to the realization that they're going to do that.
But what do you get for Marchand? Not much.
2nd round pick, probably.
Something. Anything.
Like probably get a 2nd round pick. That's what it probably.
Because we're getting nothing out of him right now. But there is kind of an unwritten rule: you don't trade captains.
Well, they traded Ray Bork.
They traded Ray Bork. They could trade anybody.
Wait, wasn't Phyllis Esposito the captain when they traded him?
Yep.
No, Johnny Busick was the captain.
Oh,
but Phil had the A. He was an associate.
Yeah. Well, needless to say, this is going to be very interesting to see guys go out the door, and I won't miss any of them. To be honest with you, I'm really actually tired of this team very much. It needs a lot of new blood, new guys, new coach. Totally.
Well, the free agents they picked up this year just did not work out. That
No.
big defenseman Zadorov, he's in the penalty box more than he's on the ice. Lindholm just hasn't clicked at all as far as the offense.
Everybody's available. Well, that's our show for tonight. I want to thank the fellas. Please check us out on our website at thegrandstanders.com and tune in again next Thursday night at 7 o'clock on Spotify, YouTube. You got to tune in. And we'll be back 7 o'clock next Thursday night. My name is Scott Kerman. Have a great and happy night.